know, I really didn't think I'd be getting to this game until closer to the end of the collection, but the more I looked at it and analyzed it, I realized that it was closer to possible than impossible, and we'll get more on that as we talk. Hey guys, this is Bill from the Nintendo Super Power Club Challenge channel, NSPC3. Today we are looking at Metroid 2, Return of Samus, and speaking of 2, this is card number 2 in the collection. So as you all know, this is the sequel to the original NES classic, and it also predated Super Metroid, which has its own challenge a little later in the series. But what can I say about this game? It was the first Metroid of its entire series on the Game Boy on a portable system, and it set the standard for many of the games to follow. The only real downside to it, I could say, is that it didn't really have a map screen, but of course that was later rectified with Super Metroid and all of the games that followed. Now then, let's go ahead and jump into this challenge and see why I've been holding off on it for so long, even though it's the second card in the collection. Well, I hope you're ready for a long one, because that's essentially what we're in for today, a full game playthrough. The challenge states, how far can you get in the game without using your laser gun, meaning your beam? On Pro level, destroy the first 39 Metroids, aka beat the entire game. Alright, so if you've never played Metroid 2, it plays out very similar to the original NES Metroid, in that you collect weapons, items, power-ups, missiles, bombs, etc. It plays out very similar to that. But there's one problem. The Pro level challenge does not indicate that there are several enemies that must be defeated by the ice beam first and then hit by the missiles. And since you can't use the beam, technically that makes the Pro level challenge impossible. So yeah, I could put the impossible stamp up there, but as tempting as it is to do it, I'm going to go ahead and do the Pro level challenge anyway with the first 38 Metroids. Reason why? I really believe that although Nintendo obviously made a technical oversight here, I think the challenge in the game is fun enough to go ahead and do it anyway, so I'm going to do the first 38 Metroids to get it recorded on screen for proof, because this is a fun game and I want you guys to see this. There is some level of skill involved, and we're going to go ahead and show it off here to you. Alright, we're going to break it into chunks just like we normally do with these longer games, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the first part of Metroid 2 on the Game Boy. Here we go. Alright, we have begun our journey into SR-388, which is the name of the planet owned by the Metroids here. And we start off right outside of Samus' ship, and before we really get going here, you're going to see I'm switching over to the missiles right now. You will never see me switch back over to the beam for the entirety of the game until the very end, when we are required to kill the final 8 Metroids, or at least start to kill them with the ice beam first, and then shoot them with the missiles. So that being said, I do want to point out once again that this is essentially a blind playthrough for me. I have really not ever played this game outside of maybe once over 10 plus years ago from the time of the posting date of this video, so this is, for all intents and purposes, definitely a blind playthrough here. But the good part is, at least for the first part of the game, it is really straightforward. You're in the surface area right now, and we are basically going to go all the way down and over to the left. By the way this game works as far as progress on the map is concerned, the game will not progress until you have killed a specific number of Metroids. So when that happens, you will see an earthquake occur, in which case the lava will go down, and it will allow you to progress further in the game. So right now you can see in the bottom right hand portion of the screen, by the way, we have 39 Metroids. So we have to kill all 39 of them in order to completely beat the game. There's actually technically 38. And then the final boss, which is the Queen Metroid, is the 39th one. So right now we only have to kill one of them to advance the game and go to the next section here. And you're going to see we're continuing on down to the left. Whole bunch of generic enemies here. Try to conserve your ammo early in the game, because you're going to see right now the early Metroids require 5 missiles to kill. You only start the game with 30, so unless you can earn more missiles by killing them, it's just very simple and easy to conserve your ammo, because if you exhaust it in this early portion of the game, you don't have any bombs, you don't have the screw attack, so that's it. It is potentially possible to soft lock the game if you run out of missiles early on here. Alright, now we're almost at the first Metroid. Here it is. This is considered an Alpha Metroid. They're very simple to kill. They come out of the hatchling egg. 5 missiles will do the trick, so just make sure you get in a good position. You can shoot it from the left, right, top, or bottom. Get it in a good position here, and boom, gone. That's one Alpha Metroid down. We have 38 left to go. And the game will now let us advance. You're going to see an earthquake occur shortly, and right about here you have both energy and missile refills. And the missile refills, most of all, are the most critical because, again, you're going to have a limited supply of ammo in the early going. You want to pick up as many of the missile upgrades as you can possibly find because, again, if you run out of ammo and you have no way of getting more of it without the bombs, which we haven't acquired yet, you will end the game prematurely. And we obviously don't want to do that this early into the run, if not ever. Alright, so we just mentioned one Metroid down, 38 to go. The next part of the game has been unlocked, and the way you're going to get to it is to climb up out of this shaft here. And we're going to move into what's known as Section 1. Right now we're in the surface area. We're going to continue moving up and back over to the right into section number 1. And this part of the game is going to see a lot of missile upgrades, which we will sorely need throughout the entirety of this game, as well as the bomb and also an energy tank, because we're definitely going to need lots of energy here, considering there may be parts of the game where we have to go as a pacifist to conserve on our ammunition here, and that might entail taking some hits where we don't want to. By the way, that's a save point right there. All you have to do is jump on top of it, hit start, that'll save your game. We're not going to do it right now since we're only a mere, 8 or so minutes into the game. It's kind of pointless to make the video that short. Alright, so we have officially moved into section number 1 of the map. Normally that would be filled with lava right now, but because we've taken out the Metroid, we are good to go on down. And you're going to start to see more difficult enemies like this one that will require more than 1 or 2 shots to kill. I'm not too concerned about them right now. And then we have these things that drill down from the ceiling. You probably recognize them from Metroid 1 if you're kind of familiar with the series at all. So we're just going to keep on moving down. Right now the path is still fairly linear, not a whole lot to really think about or concern yourself with in terms of strategy. Just going to keep on moving over here, and right now we're moving into a watery section with water type enemies. Again, nothing too terrible. Oh, by the way, one more thing. We will be coming across the Ice Beam upgrade. Now, obviously, we all know we can't use it during this run, but in order to get to the 39th and final Metroid, we will need to have it in our possession. So we will pick it up, even though we won't be using it until the very end. Oh well, kind of sad, right? Anyway, moving forward here, now we're into a different section with different music, and if you've played Super Metroid, you may recognize some of these enemies here from the Brinstar section. Those are pretty ugly things that will just flop like leaves in the wind. Just move on past them. We're going to continue on moving forward here, and we're going to go up this shaft here. You can opt to kill these enemies or not. We're going to be coming up across quite a few missile upgrades here, and that's going to expand our inventory of missiles to well beyond 50 if I'm not mistaken, giving us quite a bit of leeway to actually take some shots at enemies here. And we're going to keep moving forward. This is a transitional section into more of part 1. And again, we're going to see another shaft we have to climb up here. Once we get up, kill a few more enemies if you need to. All the way across, and we're going to have 2 to 3 missile upgrades very, very shortly here. This section is kind of annoying. It's a spawning vat of sorts. So you can actually use this if you have enough missiles to shoot them down and regain your enemy, maybe even gain some missiles if you're getting kind of low. So it is an option. Do what you will with it. We will also be coming up on a save point very shortly as well. Alright, a few more of these floppy leaf blob enemies here. Just keep moving on by. Here's a new enemy, a wasp bee-looking insect that will move in a circular pattern. There's a section not too far from here that will actually require to get by 3 of them or so. There's a save point. Use it if you need to. Now we're going to move all the way down this shaft here and over to the left, and we're going to encounter our first major upgrade here, and we will be using this quite extensively to get other various upgrades. It'll also be our backup. By the way, to open those doors, shoot them with 5 missiles. And here's our first upgrade. As I was saying, this is the bomb. It is the staple of many of Samus's weapons. It's a staple of the franchise as well. Use it immediately right here on the floor to get a missile upgrade. So that's a nice thing. It'll instantly upgrade you 5, if not 10 more missiles if you're low on them. So that's very nice. That's our first missile upgrade. We're going to try to get every single missile upgrade in the game, or certainly as many as we can possibly get, because a lot of these later Metroids, like the Omega Metroids especially, will require 20 missiles to kill, unlike the Alpha Metroids, which is like the first one we killed, which only requires 5. So definitely get as many as you can. You will need them. Go ahead and blow that enemy away if you can. Now we're going to roll through the wall here. This is a false wall. Go ahead and bomb right here, and here is our first energy tank upgrade, and that's very nice to have. Get rid of the annoying beeping sound you've been hearing recently. Any energy tank upgrades that you pick up will instantly fill your health up to the max, so definitely pick them up and acquire them as they are available. And that takes care of that. And right now, I'll just point out, if I look kind of tentative, it's because I'm actually looking at an off-screen map while I'm trying to play this game. Once again, as I pointed out way back at the start, this is a blind playthrough for me. I really don't know where I'm going. But at the same time, I do want to have some semblance of where to go, because without a true map, I really would be playing blind here. So even though I don't necessarily know the enemies that are coming up, I do know the sections because I will have this off-screen map handy in my possession here. Alright, now right about here we're going to be using the bomb to get through, and what we're looking to do is go down this little hole here, and we're going to acquire another upgrade, which is very similar to the morphing ball that we have. We're going to be using this new upgrade that you're going to see right about down here, and this is called the spider ball. The spider ball will allow us to climb and crawl along pretty much any wall or ceiling in the game, provided there's a clear path to get to it. And that's going to allow you to avoid quite a few enemies here just by simply rolling past them on the ceiling, on the walls, whatever. This is a huge, huge piece of Samus's upgrade suit to have. Make sure that you make every effort to get to it quickly. You will be needing it to finish the game. We're going to go back through this hole here, and we're going to start picking up some of these missile upgrades here. We've already got the energy tank, so now we're going to go right over here, and we're going to try to get rid of this enemy if possible. And we're going to use the spider ball right here to roll up the wall. We'll show you how this works. This is pretty cool. It'll take you all the way up here, and there's going to be our second Alpha Metroid right through this little corridor here. Make sure you have the missiles selected. You obviously should, because you're not using the beam until the very end of the game. And here's our second Metroid here. Get up close to it to trigger the battle, and then fire 5 missiles into it. Here's the first one, and that's kind of tricky. Now, if you can, this is kind of cool. Sometimes you can get the Metroid stuck on top. You can get a clear, easy pot shot in on it, and that wasn't too bad. So we were able to kind of cheese that one a little bit, and there's no hidden power-ups or refills in that room, so just feel free to leave. Jump all the way across to the left, and we're going to keep on moving, do a little bit of backtracking here. And we're going to start to get some of the missile upgrades and some of the further Alpha Metroids here. Now we're going down a shaft. You're going to see all the way down at the bottom. Eventually there will be an ice beam. We're going to save that for later. But right now we're going to blow through here. Here's the next missile upgrade. We could opt to just shoot it with a missile, but again, we're trying to conserve on ammo. That's very nice. Go ahead and get another few missiles for us. There's another one you're going to see right over here once we get shot. Again and again. Go ahead and bomb your way down here, get this one, and then right above us is yet another missile upgrade. So that's 3 missile upgrades in one room. That's kind of odd, rare, but a nice thing to have. Now, how do you get up there? It's going to be the spider ball. So we're going to roll ourselves up, and unfortunately there's a false wall there, so we'll just have to fix our alignment and try it again. By the way, now that I'm thinking about it, I've decided not to get the ice beam for the moment because, truthfully, again, you're not going to be using it at all until the end of the game, as we know. So the good thing is there are multiple opportunities to get the ice beam, and you can get one as far as right before the point where you actually need it at the very end of the game. So not a big deal. I've decided not to do it. Anyway, we're going to continue on here. So yeah, this one is kind of tricky. You could get it by bombing up, but this is a much safer and more reliable way to get it. Use the spider ball, bomb on the top, and then continue on this way. I think that's a very unique way of using the spider ball in order to bomb holes on the top. And you'll see other opportunities and instances where that does have to happen here. So right around here, I'm doing a quick check on the offline map to see where I have to go. We're going to go up at this point, and right about here, these enemies, you could of course kill them with a missile launcher, but why bother when you need to conserve that ammo early on in the game? So we're just going to wait until they shoot, play a little pacifist, and continue to move on past them here. So we're going to go all the way up. And what you're going to see once we get to the top of this chute here, or the top of this wall, we're going to spider ball all the way, all the way, all the way up and around. And we're going to see some interesting stuff in here that we haven't gotten yet. Turn back into the regular Samus, and there are some more missile upgrades here. So go ahead, bomb through the walls, get those upgrades, and this is going to give us a nice little stash. I think by the time this is all said and done, we're going to have about 6 or 7 missile upgrades, which is going to put us in very good shape for the remainder of Section 1 as well as the beginning of Section 2 here. So we're in pretty good shape for the time being. A few more of these little gun wall shooters we don't have to worry about. And here is the last of our surface area Section 1 missile upgrades. So we're going to go ahead and grab it. Now at this point, what we need to do is find and finish off the remaining Metroids in this section before we can move on to Section 2. And right now we've taken out one of them. We have 3 more we have to get rid of, and they're all in lower areas compared to where we're at right now. So you're going to see a little bit of backtracking. We've already seen this area. We're going to wait until we get back to regular Samus, blow our way all the way back through here. Nothing we haven't already seen before. You can shoot the enemies if you're low on health. We're just going to continue going on through to the left-hand side. And eventually we're going to move on down south, and we're going to try to take on the 3 remaining Alpha Metroids that we have yet to encounter. This, of course, is the spawn vat area. You could take a moment to refill your health, or perhaps get some more missiles if you're low on them. I tend to do that for a couple if I'm low on health. Obviously, it doesn't make much sense to use missiles to get missiles, but you may find yourself in that predicament every now and then. Fortunately, though, we have the bombs, so we don't have to worry too much about that. If we completely run out of missiles, we have a way to still deal damage without completely screwing ourselves over. So right now we're heading down south. Again, we have 3 Alpha Metroids remaining. One of them is going to be right over here. We're going to continue heading on over to the right. And you can see there is a Metroid hatchling pod area. So we know we're getting close to one of them. We're going to head over to the right. And this section, we're going to have a tiny bomb, tiny hole to blow through here with a bomb. And then eventually you're going to see this is a pretty annoying, ugly area eventually. We're going to have lots of bombs and or areas to use missiles or spider balls. And I believe this is it, yes. So this is kind of annoying, obviously. You're going to have to probably use a missile or 2 to take out some of those enemies. Now, if you're really, really good, you could use a spider ball or just maneuver yourself around them. But when you've only got 1 energy tank, it's probably best to just burn it, use a missile, take out some of these enemies, or just use a bomb, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. So we're going to play it safe, maneuver our way through here just like this, except we won't get hit if we're good. And we're going to take out these last couple remaining Metroids, and we're having some tough times here. Going to go ahead and spider ball our way up, take out this one. And we're going to move on through. Now we're actually very close to an energy refill, so even though we might be a little low on health, and we're getting kind of dangerously low right now, take out this last enemy here. This is not a very good showing for me right now. So we're going to go all the way up where I'm showing you right there. If you head up north, there is an energy refill right over this way. Going to go all the way back over to the west. And you're about to see it's right over here where it's blinking right there. That is an energy refill, and you just have to utilize the spider ball to get up there. Unfortunately, I took the wrong wall, if that makes any sense. I should have approached it from the other side, and I could have gotten the energy refill. So unfortunately, I haven't realized that yet, so we're going to have to do a little bit of backtracking. So I'm going to skip past this, and we will go do it the correct way. Okay, we're finally on the correct side of the wall here, so let's try this again. Go up and over, and if we've done it correctly, the spider ball should now hug the wall to the top, and we should get to the energy refill section, which we sorely need. And there we go. Now we are back to full health with the energy tank as well. Now we can drop down here, or just do it the way we should have done it. Just hug the spider ball ceiling all the way, just like this. Might take a minute or 2, but that's okay. Utilize the bomb, and we'll finally get back to where we should be. Okay, now that we've fixed that little problem, let's go ahead and continue forward. So now we have this little sand desert area. Now, there's a little conundrum. Normally, of course, you would use your gun, your beam to shoot through this, but without it, you're going to be forced to use your bomb, which is fine. Or you could use your missiles. Obviously, try not to use your missiles if you can avoid it. The bombs still do plenty of damage to these enemies, so that's what I would strongly suggest. You will probably have to use a missile or 2 to get back up to a higher elevation once you get all the way across, so just consider that. Bomb your way across. It's the safest and most ammo-efficient method of doing it. Yeah, pretty simple, just like this. It will take a little bit of time, but again, ammo conservation is everything in this kind of a challenge, so take your time, do what needs to be done. I'm going to go ahead and blast a couple missiles here and continue on forward. Now, we have, of course, 3 Metroids left to go in this section before we continue on with section number 2. And looking at my offline map, it looks like the next one we're going to do is straight over to the right. So all of these Alpha Metroids play exactly the same. They all need 5 missiles apiece to be killed. So, and they all have the same type of AI. They all act the same way. If you can, just try to get them hung up on a wall or a ceiling or something, and they're all easy kills. Now, unfortunately, that's not always going to be the case, depending on what type of a room you're in here. So let's see what we got for this one. For this one, it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but here we are. And we might be able to get this one hung up, but I don't think it'll be necessary. We've already got 3, 4, One more missile should do it. There we go. So that one wasn't too bad. We're still doing very good on health. So we got 2 more Metroids to go in this section. So we got the one on the far right. Now we can go straight over to the left and down. There should be 2 more Metroids here. So just get past these annoying leaf-like enemies. Fortunately, you can pretty much walk underneath them. You don't have to worry about shooting them. Maybe one. I would say that one, if anything. But we're going to keep on going. That's where we were initially. Now we're going to head far over to the right. Excuse me, the left. And just a couple more generic enemies here. Yeah, we've got 2 more Metroids to go. This one also on the far right-hand side. This Metroid should play out exactly the same. Here we go. Again, you could get it hung up on the ceiling there, but this one is acting pretty simple. There we go. We managed to cheese it out just a little bit. One more missile. Easy stuff so far. All right, we've got 1 more Metroid to go, and then we should get another earthquake, allowing us to move forward into section number 2. So let's go ahead, go all the way over to the left, and we'll get a little bit of health here off of killing some of these simple enemies. So once we kill this last Metroid, we're just going to traverse all the way back up the shaft, and then continue on to section 2. So let's see if we can find this last Metroid here. It should be all the way over here in this passage. There he is, just waiting for us. So there's 1, 4 more shots to do it. 2, 3, 4, 1 more. Pretty simple stuff. All right. There we go. So we've gotten all of the Metroids out of section number 1. That wasn't too bad. And you know what? Here comes the next earthquake, I believe. Yep, there it is. Signifying the end of section 1. The lava is now dropping. It will let us go to the next area. And in order to get there, we're going to have to climb up the shaft again and do a little bit of backtracking. So in order to avoid the boredom and things you've already seen before, we're just going to go ahead and skip ahead. Trust me, I'm not going to use anything other than a missile. Just going to skip ahead, and we'll see you at closer to the entrance of section number 2. Okay, we're just about at the point where we can start descending into section number 2 now. So, as you can see, this is where the lava would have been. We're going to move over 1 more screen, and then we're going to start dropping down into the old deserted lava pool here. And I can tell you right now, with section 2, since we're pretty much coming up on close to 30 minutes here, you're not going to be seeing a whole lot. You're just going to see us take out the very first Alpha Metroid, and then we'll go to the nearest save point. And we'll call it good for this one particular opening portion. So not too bad to start things out. We got quite a bit of lot accomplished here. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to where we actually start descending in because we're going a little too far. And then we'll see you when we get down there. Okay, here we go. Apologies for the confusion here, but we are finally back on track. We are now descending down into the depths of SR388. We are about to enter into section 2 here, and we've got quite a few enemies that we've already seen before, and it's nothing unusual. So we're just going to continue going down. Eventually, this is going to come around to an entry point where we will see a save, but right before that, actually, we will see the next Alpha Metroid. So we're going to take that one out as quick as we can once we get to that level. We're just waiting for certain enemies to get out of the way so we can move forward. There we go. We could opt to shoot them, but not really necessary right now. And there's a hatchling pod, so we know we're getting close to the Alpha Metroid. I believe it should be right on the other section here. Very, very close by. Right about here. Nope, another couple screens. It's not too far away. And then the save point will be very, very close, and then we can opt to end for this particular section of the run. So like I said, not too bad. We got quite a few missile upgrades as well, so we are in really good shape right now. I know that in Section 2, it's been a while since I played this game, but I know in Section 2 there are quite a few suit upgrades we're going to be getting. We'll probably have about 9 different Metroids we'll be killing, and a lot of them will be much more difficult than the ones we've already been facing. Now, these enemies right here, I don't recall if you touch them, if you actually get damaged or not. I did a good job of actually avoiding these enemies in the first place, but I don't want to take any chances and find out the hard way, so I'm just going to roll, jump, dance, and get around them. Obviously, you could opt to bomb underneath them in the sand, but I did a pretty good job of avoiding them anyway. Alright, and I think we're just about ready to take on the next and final Alpha Metroid. There he is right there. So 5 good shots should take him down. We got 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5 gone. So we've taken out the first 6 Metroids in the first part of this challenge video so far. So not too bad. We got 33 left to go. We will certainly take out quite a few more of them in the next part. We're just going to move forward a little bit more until we get to the save point, and we'll call it good. Now, these enemies are brand new. We haven't seen these ones yet, but they're quite annoying. Once you get close to them, they'll home in on you. Fortunately, a single missile shot is enough to take them out, but yes, they are extremely annoying. For the time being, I'm not too worried because here's our save point right up here. We're going to save. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you in part 2, where we'll take out some more of these Metroids.